Welcome to the Knackly training video on how to automate a document. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and automate an engagement letter, but the same process would hold for if you're doing any other documents. The first thing I've done is gone ahead and clicked on the Knackly add-in, which we have another video on how to install it, and I put in my workspace. I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. Now I have an option. I could certainly go through and choose an existing template and edit it, but in this case I'm starting fresh, so I want to create a new template. I'm just going to name it. One of the naming conventions in Knackly is that these names do need to be, no spaces are allowed. I'm going to do it based on estate plan. I'm going to create it from a current document, so this document. Then I have an option here. In Knackly, you can create one to as many different documents within what we call an app. And if I said new, it would create a new app for me, but I actually want to go from new estate plan. I'm going to add this to that. Go ahead and click create. And now you'll see that I have a bunch of different, and these are variables over here that I can go through and start adding. In each of Once you install Knackly, we automatically put in a set of variables that are basically practice specific. If you're in legal, if you're outside of legal, we'll have something that closely matches what would variable set, because we don't want you having to recreate things that we've already created multiple times for multiple clients. So I'm just going to head and start entering them in. So here in my document, I've got client, I've got address, matter name. I've kind of gone through and capitalized things, places that I want to replace with fields. So under client, I'm just going to click on client, and I'm just going to scroll down here to full name. Now certainly if I wanted full name to be all uppercase, which I'm going to do in this case, I could just click on our little button here and say uppercase, and that will bring in uppercase. Now address. I have a couple different options on addresses. I mean, certainly I could put in the, you'll see up here, I've got address 1, city, state, zip. But we've also created a block address for you, an inline address, where we basically have gone through and combined them all into one. So I'm going to go ahead and click on block, double click on block address. And now matter name. Now matter, in this case, we actually have this folder with matter information, but I don't have a matter name in there yet. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to click on add new variable, and I'm going to match up because I want it to show up in this folder. I'm just going to say matter, and I'm just going to say matter name. And question prompt, what is the matter name? So I can, this is a question that how it will be asked. And if I go under matter, I've got my matter name there. I've got my client here, so I'm just going to head and put in their full name. And the date, based on our conversation of date, so I could put a date conversation, and I will put that in. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the matter. I just say date. And I could put date. I could do date of initial conversation, or I could date of initial meeting, maybe, as a more appropriate. And the attorney, so let's get, I'm just going to go under matter. Conversation date, just going to put that in, and attorney. So you'll see under matter we have one that's called attorney, and I can just put the name in there. There's a couple different ways that you can approach attorney names, but in this case I have a drop down. And then I'll put my matter name, and as you can see, I'm just selecting things. Now I get to a stage where I need some conditional logic in here, because if it's a married client, then I want to bring in that it's joint representation, and that's how it will fill it out. So in this case, I actually want to go through, and if they're married, I'm just going to click on my little button here, put an if statement. So if it's true, I'm going to insert it. And I'm just going to actually move that end if down to the bottom there. And then if they're married, so I'm going to put my client's name in there. I'm going to keep it in lowercase. And if I want that bolded, all I have to do is just bold it. And that, because it keeps whatever formatting you do. And then I'm going to do my spouse. And I'll put her full name in. And I will highlight it and bold it. It's common. So I want client. Here I could go through, and I'm just going to put in client full name. And I could do a state. So let's just say I want this to be in the client state. So I can just go ahead and put in the state. And then I could do some conditional logic here. So what's going to happen is if I say they're married, it will then ask me for spouse's information. If I don't say they're married, then it's not. Then I can just keep going down. If I want my hourly rate, I can go through and insert hourly rate, contingencies, and I will put the attorney in there again, which I can just go to matter, attorney, and double click the name. That will bring in the information. So let's just see what this looks like so far. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now it's saved, and I want to see what the questions are. Now, if you'll remember, I added it to a new estate plan, so you'll see that I had a sample document there before. And so if I uncheck that, the spouse's information goes away. If it's checked, it's there. And I haven't, these other ones, do you have children, has to do with other questions, but matter, I've now got, what is the matter name? Smith. I can put whatever there, an initial meeting date. So when it was. Click OK, click complete. Based on all the information that I put in there. So Smith, that's because that's what I named it. And then the nice thing with Knackly is I see how we got these hourly rates. So let's go ahead and finish that part off. And you'll see that right now that those questions weren't asked. Let's just scroll down. And we're going to create basically a selection variable that it gives you the option of hourly rate, flat rate, or contingency. So I'm going to click add a new variable. I'm going to put it under the matter, and I'm just going to do it as a selection. And let's call it fee type. And it's going to ask me what the questions I want to ask. So I'm going to say hourly flat rate. Okay. So first one I want to do is I'm just going to highlight hourly, go to matter, and you see now I got fee type. What I want to do is I want to do an if statement. And this one's for hourly, so I want an hourly rate to come in. And then I'm going to do the same thing for flat fee. And then another one, highlight this, contingency. put that information in. So if I select hourly, it's going to bring in hourly. If it's going to bring in other information. So let's just go ahead and save that so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so I can see that it uploaded. So I'm just going to come back here, go into new estate plan, go to the matter, and now it's asking me for the fee type. So it did exactly what I wanted it to do. Now let's go through and add a couple variables. So turn the hourly fee. In this case, under matter, I actually have an hourly rate, so I can just double click on that because I've entered that into a table. And I can do a table with staff as well. In this case, I'm just going to do staff hourly rate. Just have the person type it in. So again, go to the matter folder. I'm going to do a number. Staff rate. And certainly I could, you see that it's kind of grayed out. That's what it put in for me automatically. You can change that if you want. Okay, and I could put the matter name in there again. And in this case, I want a flat fee amount, so I'm going to add it and put it under matter. It's just a way of, and then we're going to do a number. I'm going to do flat fee rate. We have some clients that are adding multiple fees up, doing it that way with selections. There's a number of different ways you can do this. But in this case, I wanted to show, so I got a flat fee, but you'll see here I want to spell it out and then put it in number form. So I'm going to go ahead, highlight it. And I've got some different, so I can do cardinal. So I'll spell it out. And then I'll just double click and put the fee in. Now we got contingency. So let's go ahead and just do a contingency. Add another number variable. Under matter. In this case, it's going to be slightly different because I'm going to put this in a whole number. If I wanted to do some calculations, I could potentially put it into percentage. I can do a number of different things, but in this case, I'm just going to put it in as the whole number. I'm going to go ahead and click save. It's uploaded, and now, and you'll see under matter, so you'll see hourly. It's going to pull, if I'm hourly, it's going to pull from the attorney information, then ask me staff. If I have a flat rate, it's going to ask me the flat rate amount. If it's contingency, the contingency percentage. Nice thing is that because of the logic that you put into the document, the online intake automatically takes care of that for you. So let's just go ahead and put in 25 as a whole number. Click complete. Get the engagement letter, and you will see I've got my contingency of 25%. Now you'll see it's got some, notice that I ended up with too many paragraphs, and so I'm just going to go back. That's because I have a paragraph here. Let's see if I've got, I like to turn my paragraph symbol on, especially when automating. That looks good. Yours truly. Click save, and then that updates there. So that's how you would automate a document in Knackly, and gives you a good feel for how to insert, how to use some logic, then some different options, and look forward to working with you. Thanks.